you done that sooner? I could have been his wife. You know it's time. You know it's time, time, time. Time to take a load off. You know it's time. You know it's time, time, time. Time to blow some smoke off. Sometimes I smoke 'cause I'm happy, sometimes I smoke 'cause I'm sad, sometimes I smoke 'cause it's handy, sometimes I smoke 'cause I'm mad. Sometimes I need your love and sometimes I need to run to the hills. Sometimes I want somebody to give me some pills. You know it's time. You know it's time, time, time. Time to take a load off. You know it's time. You know it's time, time, time. Time to blow some smoke off. Some days are bad, some days are worse. Some days I think my life's under some kind of curse. Nothing is right and everything is wrong. What did I do to have to write this song? You know it's time. You know it's time, time, time. Time to take a load off. You know it's time. You know it's time, time, time. Time to blow some smoke off. You know it's time. You know it's time, time, time. Time to take a load off. You know it's time. You know it's time, time, time. Time to blow some smoke off.
Welcome to Relaxing with Rachel. There we go. Hello. Welcome to Relaxing with Rachel.
What up?
I am your host, Rachel Kirkpatrick. TGIF. I am so happy it's Friday. I feel like I am so done with this week. So done with everything. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to take a load off, blow some smoke off. I am here with Julia Bartel,
Hello.
and she is a florist extraordinaire.
That's bold.
Okay, when I have known Julia for 6 years, and since I have known her, she has always loved flowers.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's always the goal, is you love and passionate about flowers, and that's just like who you are, and that's what you do. And that's pretty wonderful.
That's true. I guess that is me.
Yeah, so we are here today, and we are gonna just share a little bit about our lives and where we first met. So also, this is a huge day for us because Julia Bartel has relapsed. She is a recovering gluten-free person, and now she is free of gluten-free.
The devil.
You are free now. So what does it feel like to be gluten-full now?
Oh, the fullness is great. I feel so full in my heart and gut. And it also, my gut, it empties normally.
We had the glasses on because we didn't feel like we gave any Fs. And I like that. I thought it was fun. But so you've been gluten-free for a long time. Like, I've known you for 6 years, and at least half of those you've been gluten-free. Is that
Definitely.
about right?
Yeah, probably like 3 years or more.
Yeah.
At least 3 years.
And I did not expect, but as soon as Julia got here today, she was like, I am free of gluten-free. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So you eat bread apparently now?
I eat bread all the time. I eat bread like morning and night. I have dreams about giant loaves.
Like, and so do you not have stomach aches anymore? Or
No.
you're just free of them?
Yeah.
And
Everything moves efficiently.
like, since I've known you, you've been, like, very pickily gluten-free, and, like, I'm done. And now you seem happier today. Not that, like, I care either which way, if anyone's gluten-free or not. Gluten-free or not. Yeah, so when did you decide this, and, like, what was the change? How did that happen?
Well, I am newly freed from being gluten-free for about a couple weeks now, and it was something that I decided with my boyfriend. He actually kind of forced me to do it.
Forced?
Well, he's like...
Strongly suggested?
You should just do it. Like, just...
I dare you.
Just do it. Just drink this beer with me. And it just kind of progressed into sandwiches and pasta and more beer.
So now you do all the things.
I do all the things.
And you're not dead.
I'm not dead. I'm not hurt. I look okay.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, okay, so I met you, I was 19.
Mm.
I was dating my very first girlfriend. We were, like, quite serious, I think. I don't know if I was living with her or not when I met you, but, like, around-ish that time we lived together.
Maybe?
And you and I bonded, like, initially right away at university. Well, I mean, like, after a time. We met each other in art class, and we bonded over the fact that we were both, like, leaving religion at the same time. We were both like, oh, I'm not sure about all this garbage or whatever. We were so frustrated, and I think that's what made us able to connect so well. So, like, today I wanted to talk to you about that journey and what that was like, because, like, I know for me it was quite traumatic, and once you go through, like, a little bit of your questioning your beliefs, you, like, have to start questioning more, and then unfortunately that messes up your whole life, because then, like, people around you sometimes don't respond well, or, like, yeah, I think as far as, like, for me, when we first, like, doing it at an age of, like, 19 was
18.
very useful.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so what kind of church did you grow up in? Like, what did that life look like for you?
Yes. So my parents are Mennonite Brethren, which is...
Oh my gosh.
Well, some people mix it up with being Amish. It's very similar, but very different.
Yeah.
We use electricity and stuff, but it's very conservative mindset, and the way you dress is very conservative.
Did you go to public school or did you go to Christian school?
My parents could not afford to put us in a Christian school, although if they had the opportunity, we would have gone there.
Yeah.
But the Christian kids, like, or the kids that went to Christian school that I know, are like...
What are they like?
I don't think it really matters what school you go to, I'm just gonna say. It really doesn't.
So, what kind of church? So, okay, it's Mennonite Brethren.
Yeah.
You grew up, so you went, like, what, once a week, twice a week, Bible study, maybe?
Yeah, so we went to church religiously, on Sundays.
Yeah.
And we had youth group on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. And my parents were and still are very involved in the church, emotionally and financially even. Yeah, I liked the friendships that I had at my church, and because I'd always gone there my whole life, they were and are my family, so...
Totally.
I, like, leaving the church, I didn't really have, I don't know, any idea of what was really coming until it happened when I left.
So, what was it for you that started that process? Like, did you first start questioning things? Was there, like, a particular belief that you were like, I'm not so sure about this one, and then you, like, questioned it, or, like, I just don't want to go to church anymore?
It was like, I think for me, it was in youth group.
Yeah.
Not naming names. Our pastor had us, like, speaking in tongues.
Yeah. Actually? Like, all of you?
I was not actually.
Okay, so, is it...
Hear me
What?
out.
Okay, so it's like this is in church. Are we at youth group? Or
We're
are we in
at
church?
youth group
Okay, on like a weeknight.
on a weeknight.
There's
we're
like how
there.
many kids-ish in this room?
Oh, probably like 10 or something.
Okay.
And we're praying, and we've been told to like pray for each other and like manifest over each other these different like thoughts about God and stuff, and where our lives are going with Christ and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then we were told to start speaking in tongues, like having a conversation with God
Yeah.
through speaking in tongues. And a lot of churches hadn't and still don't really like to delve into that. And I know
Yeah.
a lot of people left the church when that started to happen because
Yeah.
some people just don't agree with it.
So if anyone's watching and doesn't know what tongues is, that's just like they call it like the utterance of the spirit. There's like other
Yeah, you
words.
like call on the
It's-
spirit.
You like some people. I went to a Pentecostal church, so like or Pentecostal school, and it was like all about tongues, and they also were like very into this, and I guess they like sort of viewed it as like if you could speak in tongues, you were like a better Christian, like a stronger.
It just means you
You're-
had like a deeper connection.
Yeah.
That's what I was told anyways.
Yeah. That's
And-
totally the belief structure that I was grew up
Yeah,
onto.
maybe
Yeah.
it is true because I did not. And when I
Because
was
you did not
told to participate, they were like, okay, like get involved and just start like shabba da da ba da da, you know, like
Man.
da 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 whatever. And I'm like,
Oh my God.
I don't want to do this, and I don't feel comfortable doing this, and I feel like I'm having to do this.
Totally.
Almost a gentle nudge. And so I was doing it because I wanted them to feel that I wanted to talk to God.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. I just wanted to like not have
Go
eyes
with the
on
status
me.
quo.
I just wanted to be like, okay, yes, I can speak that lingo too. Nana jabba da da da, like leave me alone.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, so that particular evening at youth group, I went, I don't know if this is for me.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know about this.
Yeah.
This is
So was this
really-
your actual church? Or was this was your church that you?
This is
normally
my
go to?
family church that I was born and raised and
And you're-
dedicated as a baby to this church. I was not baptized
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. Me
in the-
neither.
No?
Not at all, no.
Oh, yeah, the Mennonite church, you don't baptize your baby. It's the child or the adult's responsibility to decide on baptism, which I think is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then you know, like they're the one making the decision.
Yeah, and I decided not to because I could already feel my faith slipping, and I felt like if I go any further down the
Yeah.
rabbit hole, I don't know.
I always felt like if I were gonna get baptized, like I felt like there had to be this like particular place I was at. You know, it was like okay, I get it now. Like I'm
Yeah.
Christian enough, I'm holy enough, I'm
Like,
like,
I want to
whatever
go
enough.
deeper.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
once
no.
I'm there, then I can get baptized. Like I have to be like a certain level of good or something. Or,
Yeah.
like, enlightened or I don't know what. And that's why I don't think I ever got to that point. So it's like, well, I'm not.
Yeah, my parents asked me many times, like, oh, do you want to get baptized this year? They're doing it
Yeah.
at the lake. Or, oh, how about, they're doing another one in the wintertime. It's going to be in the church. Like, there's going to be this big tub, and
Yeah.
there's a couple young people also getting baptized. And it's like, that's cool. Good for
Yeah.
them. Like, I will be there to see that, to witness that, but I'm not ready.
Yeah.
And I never was.
So, oh man. So you were like 18, 19.
Yeah.
Okay, so how old were you when this like tongues experience happened?
Oh, I was probably a preteen.
Okay.
So, and there's lots of stuff happening during that time. Like,
Yeah.
you're menstruating for the first time. You've got like
Menstruating.
attention from boys,
Yeah.
and you don't know what to do about it. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and then you have this whole face thing just to mix it up a little bit, and you're learning this new language, and there's no book on it, really.
Yeah.
So,
We need tongue language?
right?
Is
Because
that what you mean?
it's a spiritual thing, right?
Yeah. I was under the impression that, like, only some people had that gift, and only some people could do it or feel completely taken over by the spirit or whatever. But
Yeah, I think it's like an inner confidence as well that I didn't have, and I still struggle with. So because I never felt comfortable with myself, I didn't feel comfortable speaking to someone that I didn't know very well, even though I spent a lot of time in his presence. God, Jesus, all those peoples.
Yeah.
The spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what do you mean when you say that? Because, like, that means so many different things to so many people. Like, you spent time in his presence, you were at church, is that what you mean by that?
Yeah, to be at church every Sunday and, like, going through the
so that would
way
be what
that the
you
day
consider
goes.
being in God's presence.
Yeah.
Church. Cool.
Starting the day with, like, singing, and then you listen to the pastor and stuff like that, and because I grew up with it, it just became something that was, like eating breakfast. It's just, the daily bread.
The daily bread.
I love bread.
Apparently. So fun. The reason we were so excited, especially initially, is, like, this is the first time Julie and I have ever drank beer since we, like, ever. I think ever. We've never. And this is my very favorite beer. That's why this is, like, the best day ever. This is Midnight Rhapsody beer from Big Rock Brewery. I normally am like, whatever, like, I like lots of different beers, but this dark beer, Black Currant.
It's good. And this is the first time I've had beer in a teacup. So.
It could be coffee, it could be beer. You never know what it's going to be.
No one needs to know, Mom.
So, you went to a regular school, and what was your circle of friends like? Were you guys all, do you have, like, a core group of people? Were they religious? Like, in general, the people around you? Like, how did you find the transition started to happen once you started to have these things? Like, okay, I'm not so certain I want to, like, speak weird languages in front of people in a weird situation. Like,
I think, that probably started pretty young, noticing the social and secular differences, like, just the television and the lingo and just knowledge about our sexual organs was quite dramatically different from a lot of my peers.
Yeah.
Because I didn't go to school with any of my Christian friends.
Yeah.
My Christian friends were, like, at my church or at youth group or at church events.
Yeah.
So school and church were very separate.
Yeah.
And it became more and more apparent that these are very different lives, and one is more preferable to the other.
And that's the one that doesn't involve church.
And that happens to be the one that,
involves the sex. Is that what you're getting at that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have any when I grew up. When I, like, became woman or whatever.
Okay. I'm not a girl.
When I became woman, I had no idea. No one really warned me about what was going to happen. And my sister and I were never that close, so I didn't really see her have her experience and get to learn from that. I had nothing.
So did your parents ever talk to you about sex?
No.
Never?
No.
Oh my goodness.
So you're learning about...
So where did you get your information?
Well, like, from your friends.
Yeah,
right?
Because you didn't have Christian.
And, like, your amazing sex ed class that you take, not.
Yeah.
It's just, like, it just teaches you about where things are and, like, the functionality of it. But yeah, you didn't learn too much about safe sex or, like, how to please another person. It was very
Anything
much
actually
like,
useful.
if you're gonna do it, put a bag on it.
Yeah. At the very least.
And we're not gonna show you how to use it. We're just gonna throw it at you on the desk.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but that was
crazy.
grade 8 or 9.
Yeah.
8 or 9.
So, was there ever a point where you were like, all right, I've had enough, I'm not going to church now? Like, did your
Yes.
family all go to church together on Sundays?
Yes.
Was that, yeah, like same car,
Oh yeah.
walking,
Oh, yeah.
take the car to church?
It's really hard to get out of church at the Bartel residence.
You're
in the
like,
day, it's
I'll
like,
try.
I just don't feel well. Yeah, you're coming. Get in the car.
I don't feel well when I'm at church.
Well, you're coming anyways. Yes.
Oh, man.
As I got older and started to like experiment with drinking and other social endeavors, all of those things, then it became even harder to go to church because of, lack of just overall wanting to be there. I had no desire to be there, but also I felt really guilty having my secular life
Yeah.
and then attending church
Yeah.
and being around my church friends, listening to about their weekend,
Totally.
and then thinking about mine and holding it back
Yeah.
and, just eating some bread or something.
It's like not
Back in
being
the
your
day.
not being your true self.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trying to like be more like them,
Yeah.
but then at school trying to be more like my friends at school.
Yeah.
And knowing all those slang words, all those sexual terms that kids use to make fun of each other, and
Yeah.
like,
So when you left high school, did you find a big shift at all in terms of like what that looked like? Like afterwards, did you have less of a split between the two worlds, or did you find the same thing in university, or what did you go to university right away? I mean, I met you. You were 26, right?
when we met?
Yeah.
No, I was younger,
Oh.
because I'm only 28 in August.
So 5, 6 years. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I went to university with you. I was probably like 21 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I left the church when I was 18 years old, and I chose to do it in a very adult way,
Yeah.
waiting until I was truly an adult,
Yeah.
at the age of 18,
Yeah.
and being extremely polite about it in the sense that I wanted to respect the fact that it was a big deal, and
Yeah.
it did matter. So
Wow.
I said it one evening.
Yeah, like to your whole family?
Yeah, it was at the dinner table.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to hear this. Okay.
Yes. So I'm a good kid. They call me Julia the Good.
Yeah.
And it's not just for kids. It truly
You're like
am.
one of the like most level-headed people I know. Like, bar none. You think
I'm
things
glad
through.
I can trick you. But anyhow, I really thought about it, and I really did and do care
Yeah.
what my family thinks about me.
Yeah.
So I cleared the plates, and I said, hey, like, I need to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not my brother and sister left, because I didn't really care what they thought,
Yeah.
because they didn't own me.
Yeah. They did not give me life.
Yes. So I think I mostly spoke into my dad's eyes,
Yeah.
because it's really hard to part your eyes without hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Because mom's on this side, dad's on that side. You're in the middle of your parents.
Oh my god.
It's like,
yeah.
and I just said, hey, like, I just want to be open and honest about my feelings and say, I don't think church is for me anymore, and
Yeah.
I don't want to attend it anymore because it's not a part of who I am.
Yeah.
And it just shocked them to the
Oh my
core.
gosh.
It just like rattled them.
Yeah.
It rattled my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did they bring up, like, specific things, like heaven or hell, or, like, was it, like, did you get into more of, like, a theological conversation, or was it just, like, you were like, no, this is it, this is where I'm at?
It was
Sorry.
more like for them, like, why are you doing this to us? Like,
Oh, so they took it personally. That's fair.
Who made you think this way? Who's telling
Yeah.
you things? Where are you getting your information from?
Yeah.
And for me, because I don't read a lot, and I don't, like, get political a lot, and I don't get sciencey,
Yeah.
but it's just, like, a feeling inside that says, I don't want this.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm an adult, and I'm not going to do things that I don't want to do, and I don't want to go somewhere every day and feel, just in my head, from my own thoughts, feel, like, guilty, because I read and knew what was wrong, like, the bad things to do, and
like
I was doing them.
Like the, like, sinful things
Yeah.
in the Christian rhetoric? Is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
like, I was being bad, and I felt good doing them.
Yeah.
And the only reason I felt bad was because of, like, the way that I was raised by the church, and because I had to be at church every Sunday and to dwell on the fact that I had done adult things
Totally.
because I wanted to.
Yeah.
And
It takes some, like, serious level of awareness to be able to understand that and see that, though, because a lot of people go through their lives and they don't see that at all. They don't
Yeah.
see why it's, like, weird that they believe everything they were taught at all.
Right?
You
You
know?
just do it. You were just raised to. It's like, oh, I'm gonna eat my food with my fingers, but I was raised always to use a fork and knife, but I'm just gonna use my fingers now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy, weird stuff. What are you doing?
Yeah, that would be crazy.
What are you doing eating with your hands? That's crazy. Oh, it just feels more natural, though. Oh, but, like, we always fork and knife it in this house. Like, well, I'm gonna use my hands.
Oh, man.
That was a weird analogy.
That was an amazing analogy. I love it. And, like, so
I love
visual.
bread.
The moral of the story is more gluten.
Yeah.
It was so funny. We're, like, feeding Bowie different, like, things all the time now. And the other day, Joel's like, we need to give him more bread. Like, we can't have our baby be gluten-free. That would be the worst. And I'm like, that's true. Like, you have to get them used to the things that our bodies can tolerate, but you don't want to, like, starve your body with them or whatever. I don't know. Anyway. Oh, man. It's hard. It's hard.
Yep. Yeah. And yourself?
So, when you... Ignore you. I'm like, no. Moving on. So,
Yes.
when you... So, once you told them, like, were there, like, a series of conversations that ensued? Like, did they push back often? Like, did that keep coming up? Or were they,
Yeah.
like, pretty respectful and, like,
No.
okay, bye, let's...
Well...
Like, you're you. You can do you. I'm sure they weren't. Like, you do you. So.
Well...
I mean,
There was-
you don't have to, like, obviously...
Yeah. There was a lot of times where we would be watching something or we would be sitting together and my dad would be like, what do you think about this? And he would, like, show me an article or he'd show me something from his book that was, like, a Christian science book about creation and whatnot, and
Yeah.
really wanted my opinion on it, and I just didn't want to have to deal with it.
Which is totally fair.
It's like it was like coming out. Like, I've heard my friends'
is,
stories
like,
about
it's
coming
exactly
out,
coming out.
and it's just like you've come out, you've said what you believe and how you feel, and they're trying to figure out why you feel that way, because they're confused and
Totally.
they want to understand why you're doing this. But for me, like, I was also figuring out why I wanted to do this and what I wanted to believe. So
Totally.
there was, like, this push and pull of, knowledge and feelings that I couldn't really fully tell my parents about. Like,
Well,
it was
'cause they don't
verbally
understand.
very hard to get across how I
Totally.
was feeling. And I was a young adult, like 18, and I was raised very sheltered from a lot of things. So all of a sudden I was just like getting exposed to the other side.
Yeah.
And then still dealing with the questions that my parents had and like trying to like reel me back into their reality.
Yeah.
And that was really challenging, and there was a lot of serious arguing and bickering and just some real awkward times between them and myself, and
it's
very alone at the time at times.
Totally a coming out though. Like every part of what coming out is like, you know, I don't know if you watched the show or not, but there was this woman, Ash Beckham, who we kind of like mentioned her TED Talk, and she talks about how the closet like doesn't discriminate, you know, like it can be any particular thing.
Holds whatever.
Yeah, and how the difference between being in a closet and out of a closet is like a really hard conversation. And I think that's really interesting. It's really true, and it's like, you know, the whole point is, you know, that a closet is not a very good place to live, because then you're hiding and you're like, you know, lying or just like not sharing a part of who you fully are.
Yeah, you need to express yourself.
Totally. But then when you do, there's a vulnerability that comes with that. That's like, okay, well, now you know a bit more about me or a piece of me, and that you can push up against or criticize that if you want to. Yeah. So in the following years, like, you know, how have things like worked out for you? Did you, as far as like, you know, things like heaven and hell and evolution, like, do you have any sort of like level of struggle with that, or those pieces that were part of the puzzle too?
All the time. I still don't know like what the hell I'm doing here. But now that I don't have to feel, like, before I'd feel so scared.
Like that you wouldn't go to hell, or wouldn't go to heaven? That
bad things were happening, and that, you know, the devil is real, and there's...
out to get ya.
Seriously.
God wants ya, and the devil wants ya. Like, it is a harsh world.
There's things out there that are bad, and they want to harm you. Like, this is terrifying. You're being told this at a very young age, like...
Yeah. It's terrifying.
Satan is real.
I would have nightmares all the time about like demons in my bedroom and like.
I wouldn't have
like
nightmares. That. They were night visions, my friend. Like, I would see them. I would make them up in my head, and I'd see them so vividly, and it would just scare the living daylights out of me, and I just didn't know how to handle it. My imagination just shoot out, and like, I'll just dive deeper in. It's beyond my control. And so to have that weight lifted off of this, like, monster that I'd created in my head, like this Satan, his evil creatures that come at me at nighttime, to finally be like, those aren't real, because God to me doesn't exist in my headspace. Yeah. So neither does the devil, because it's also very like mythical to me. So it was a big weight lifted off my shoulders in terms of like anxiety.
Totally.
To just be like, you know, everything's gonna be fine, and like you can just sleep easy, and there's nothing there. Yeah. Because there truly is nothing there. Like, getting into reality, it felt like waking up. It's weird.
Totally. That makes nothing but sense.
Okay, good. Because I'm just thinking about it as I say it.
Like Byron, I don't know if you're like familiar at all with like Byron Katie or people that talk about this, and she talks about like how every heaven or hell is a thought in your mind. Like, it's a place that you go, and either you know, you're at war with this moment and yourself and everyone, or you're at peace with this moment, yourself and everyone. You know, and I think being able to like step away from something that you've been taught that's like, the whole world deserves eternal damnation, is like a very crazy process to, like, I know I was always so scared even once I decided to leave, like, Christianity and came out of the closet and all that, like, I was so scared I was going to go to hell. Like, that was still a very firmly rooted belief for a very long time. And that's sad. Like, it's sad that so many of us,
It's that,
like, that's
yeah.
the motivating factor for what drives someone's behavior and actions.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people that exist,
It
know?
is.
In
Yeah.
that hell. That's hell. That's
Mhm.
what hell is, you know? It's in this place of, like, not being able to ever get free and, like, believing that freedom is after you're dead. Which I also believe it is after you're dead, but believing it's the only place after you're dead that's the only free place.
Yeah.
Where, what's the purpose of life if you can't be free now?
Yeah, like, and that was my thing for me. When I was 18, I'm like, I felt like my religion was limiting me moving forward as an individual,
Yeah.
as like an adult,
Yeah.
like just as like a human being. I felt so stuck in this lifestyle that was just kind of, I grew into it because my parents had it as well.
Yeah.
There was no other way. Like, they're just doing what they've been taught, right?
Totally.
And I was just, I didn't want to be, I just wanted to live
Like, don't
a
hold me
normal
down!
life. I just wanted to do the things that I saw that I wanted to do. It's not like I was straight up like, oh, I want to do drugs because I'm not supposed to, or like,
Yeah.
I want to drink because I'm not supposed to. It was like, I want to try those things, and I want to see
How bad
what
they
it's
are.
like.
How
Like,
dangerous they are.
this is a thing that I can do because I'm a human and I'm an adult now, and like,
Yeah.
there's things that I want to do in my life, and I felt that they were easier to do if I would just get my religion out of the way, because I didn't fully commit to it anyhow. So why was I like,
Yeah.
why are you doing something? It's like, if you're in a relationship and it sucks and you're not emotionally involved, and like, you don't want to get on a deeper level and speak a different language of them, like the love language or whatever.
Yeah.
If you don't feel like getting deeper and growing with them, and that was the same thing, like growing with Christ and all this stuff, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, why waste my time doing that when I could just focus on things that I want to do, and not doing things for people like out of fear almost, like, oh, I need to keep going to church, like,
To
oh
avoid
no,
hell.
like, or just avoid my parents' disapproval of me, like choosing to not go.
Yeah.
I struggled with it for a long time. Like, I was 18 when I said I'm done, but I was done way before that. But I just didn't have the balls or the lady parts, whatever,
To have the
I just,
ovaries.
because it takes a lot to, say, I don't want to be a part of the thing that's the biggest thing in your life anymore.
Totally.
And you're like, oh yeah.
So, like, did you have other friendships and things, like, with people at church? Did anyone push back towards you? Like,
yeah, I felt like a lot of my parents' friends really reached out, and at first, like, now when I look back now, I think it's really sweet, but in that time, I was just like, what the hell? Back off.
yeah, that's
Stop.
totally fair.
But now, looking back, I can see it as care. They just cared.
Yeah,
And
totally.
I just...
They want the best for you.
Yeah.
They're doing their best with what they have, and that's what they're offering you, and that's the best thing they can. And there's nothing wrong with that.
They just want what they think is best for you, because church, for me at least, it was like a family. It's like a community. So
Totally.
you're raised into this family. And because I always went there, that's my family. So I left my family, essentially.
It's hard.
So everyone's like, we gotta stop this. Because this is...
The devil's got a hold of her.
Well, it's just like, we love you and we want to see you.
Totally.
Just
spend time with you.
They personally felt hurt. So.
Interesting.
Yeah, and...
That's a very big compliment.
Yeah. It is nice. Yeah, it's nice to think about it now. Back in the day, I was just so, like, aggressive towards that when people did that to me. But, yeah, I appreciate it now.
That's totally fair.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, it's a crazy journey. So I remember in university you did this project, and it was like, can you explain it? Because it's so wonderful and interesting, and I think it's a wonderful piece.
That was such a long time ago.
I know, and it was such a wonderful time. A wonderful time ago.
I was in sculpture class. Was it sculpture 1 or 2?
It wasn't in either of those with you, but...
It was early sculpture, so early creative development and still, like, pretty raw emotion towards what had been happening in the past years concerning leaving religion and leaving my community. And I just felt I still felt like a lot of weird, like, pressure from my family, and I was... Yeah, but at the same time, I was starting to feel like a real, like, disconnect. Like, this is me and this is you. Like, this is what I think when I think of religion and, like, what I was living in. And this is how I feel. This is how I see myself now and in the future.
Yeah.
So the piece or pieces that I made were kind of symbolic of the worlds or the spaces that I lived in.
Yeah.
And so...
Okay, so there's a world.
Yes.
A hanging.
Beautiful.
A huge world hanging, and then under the world there's a clear box.
Yep, on a plinth or pedestal or whatever.
Okay,
I had
a clear box on a pedestal.
Yep.
And then there's a Bible in it.
It had a New Testament.
Yeah.
And it had a necklace with a cross on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was in a clear acrylic box.
Yeah. With
a lid. That was able to be taken off and on, but I glued it shut because I wanted it to be, like... Contained. And I poured resin into it, so the Bible was stuck.
Yeah.
The necklace was stuck.
Yeah.
That time of my life stuck.
Gone? Or, like...
Just, like, that was the time and that's it and it's closed off and, like...
Yeah.
That's a different...
Cool.
Life.
Yeah. What did the necklace symbolize?
It was just a symbolic of, like, church and Christianity. I just needed, like, another thing to...
Heart. Your heart, maybe?
Yeah. Just something kind of personal, sentimental looking.
Yeah.
Because with just the New Testament stuck in some resin in a box is... it's cool, but yeah. I need the necklace.
You need something more visual.
I'm a girl. Feminine.
This is the feminine Bible.
Feminine. And then the globe was amazing. I took some 2x4s and...
You made the globe?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, it's sculpture class,
Oh
Russ.
my god, yeah, well, I don't know, I never took sculpture, I did print, a lot of print.
Yes, you did. So, part of the class you had to use, certain things, so we had this 2x4 that we had to use, so I used it, and I wanted to make this globe, and I wanted to make, like, roundness, but I had this 2x4, and I could see other people using it and making, like, I don't know.
Well, was that the project
lines.
that you had to use the 2x4?
That was involved in it.
Okay.
I can't remember
Whatever.
anything else about it.
Yeah. It's usually just like the materials.
It was very
Okay,
like
right.
material based in the beginning as well, because
Yeah.
it's like let's give you this thing, and then like you gotta work within this.
So how
thing.
did you make it round if you had a 2x4?
I took the 2x4 and I ran it through a table saw into thin strips, like really, really thin. Probably like cheddar cheese.
Yeah.
Zzz. Like tons of strips in these long pieces. And when you do cut it like that and you make it that thin, it gets kind of flop.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to use it that way and bend it that way.
Yeah.
I was like, no, let's get really complicated. Let's get Lego on this shit.
Yeah.
So I took it to the bandsaw. I took the strips and taped them together. So I had like 10 strips at a time. And I took them through the bandsaw and made them probably like an inch thick or whatever, and just over and over. Zzz, zzz, and I had a bucket below collecting all these little rectangular
Yeah.
pieces of wood over and over. Zzz, zzz, and I took a beach ball,
Yeah.
blew it up, and started to use that as like my structure, my mold,
Cool, yeah.
and pieced them together, layered them on top of each other, like down like this, and just started to connect them like a sphere,
Yeah.
and with hot glue of all things.
Oh my gosh.
Super kitsch.
How many hours did this take you? Do you have it? I know it was a long time ago. Do you have an approximate?
Probably about 8 hours, like collectively.
Yeah.
And I made sure that there was a hole at the bottom, because in the end I popped it and
Yeah.
I pulled the beach ball through that hole that I'd manufactured.
Oh my goodness.
Pulled it out like
so
that.
intense.
And then I went to a park. And I'm not going to say what kind of park it is because it was naughty.
A naughty park?
No, taking moss from this park is wrong.
Oh. Yeah. So you took the moss and that's how you made the land.
I took the moss, yeah, very fresh, moist, lovely. Took it home and hair dried it.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to preserve it in its fluffiness. But yeah, I still wanted to keep it green. And this was the only way to do that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I made the consonants and I got it all sorted and it looked pretty legit.
So cool.
Pretty legit. And I hung it. So I hung the globe, and then the churchly items were on the pedestal. And even that in itself, like something suspended and free, flowing, and something kind of sitting like stagnant on
Yeah.
this structure, like that's it.
Yeah.
And they're very different. And so for me, I was trying to say, like, this is you guys, mom and dad. Like, this is my upbringing. This is like all the things that I grew up with and learned and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's done, and like it's in a box and it's sealed
Yeah.
and it's on a pedestal. There
Yeah.
is respect. But
I like that.
there's myself,
Yeah.
this free-flowing earth.
You're
and
the
it's,
whole
like,
earth.
natural. And it's open, it's exposed.
Yeah.
And it's not, like, closed off.
Yeah.
And there's just...
Yeah, when I
That's
think of
why I
you,
did
you
it.
always you have a very open mind. Like,
I try
you're
to,
Open, then
like-
whatever.
I grew up with Christianity, so there are times when I see something and my initial reaction is, that is wrong. That's wrong. And then you're like, oh, no, that's wrong to my family, not to me.
Yeah, you can't ever really, like, some of it you can't really get over. I mean, I think part of the process is, I like to think, like, oh, religion is gone, it's way behind me, but part of it is, like, getting triggered again and relearning, of like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
right, that's
Yeah, there are major, like,
not
triggers.
true.
When I'm feeling scared or worried about something, church songs come into my head because it was a comfort
Totally.
So you're like, oh man, I'm so stressed out about this thing and like, oh, my life. And it's just like these songs come into your head and you're just like, the nostalgia of it all. Just,
Totally.
this feels so good and comforting. And I don't know if it's necessarily the words within the songs or just, it's kind of like eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. It just feels right.
That's so funny you say that because, you know, like there have been times in my life where I feel like completely rock bottom or like just like you just feel out of sorts or whatever. And like the last few days have been like pretty horrible for me. And I feel like, yeah, every once in a while when you get to that like rock bottom place, you know, that's when you're able to like just sort of surrender and be like, okay, whatever, like go with the flow. I've, you know, been there multiple times, and a few of those times the only thing that would be able to come out of my body or mind or soul would be like a church hymn. Like, and that's just all that you're holding on to. Like, that's like the last anchor point. It's crazy, but like that totally happened for me too. And like one was the River of Life song, you know, like I got a river of life flowing out of me, you know that one. And then you're like, spring up a well tidal wave.
Oh man, that song
Kush,
is...
kush, kush, kush. I'm like skipping parts as I keep going, but
There was so many actions to a lot of those songs, wasn't there?
so many songs.
I got peace like a river, I've got
Joy
like a fountain, I've got love like an ocean in my soul, right? And you're like, oh man.
I find that too sometimes when I don't have songs for Bowie. Sometimes like Christian songs will come up and I'll just sort of like alter the lyrics a little bit. Like, I got the whole world in my hands. So, like, you got the whole world in my hands. Are we holding Bowie? I got the whole world in my hands. So
Yeah, like there's some really good values
totally.
in the Bible, and there's some that I just don't want.
Yeah. You just don't want the whole package.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, that's kind of one of my wonders for you. So, when I left religion also, I, like, had this, like, very much this huge wrestling with, like, all of it. Like the text and, like, each of the pieces of it. And then one piece, like, gets questioned, and then all of it starts to, like, get questioned, you know? Do you remember having, like, I guess it was, you were saying, like, the Holy Spirit thing. I guess for me it was, like, pretty much being gay. Like, that was pretty much the thing that was like, well,
Yeah.
if that's wrong, what else is wrong? Like, what else was I taught that, like, I don't necessarily believe to be true, you know?
Yeah. I
Such a
think
wild process.
it was just a big thing for me was just the fear of the other side and, like, preparing for it and doing good deeds for it. Making all these lifestyle plans and thoughts and meditation to prepare for this time that you may not even get to have.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah. You're not dead. You don't know.
it was just so much to think about just as a child, like to have those sort of, you know, pretty freaky thoughts in your mind about how the world works and what's in it and like why we're here and whatnot.
Totally.
Yeah.
I was just reading the Four Agreements last night. Have you heard of that book? Do you know that book?
No.
He basically just talks about how, like, it's, like, similar to belief, but he used the word agreement, and it's, like, when you're born, there's, like, really, truly on a person, there's no agreements. They're just, like, this weird spirit being that just, like, has feelings, I guess. And then when, like, you come into a culture, there's all these agreements placed upon you that, like, you are expected to agree upon also. And unless you don't agree to something, then the spell can basically be broken. And how your word is what casts the spell. So, like, you know, if you agree that you're going to go to hell, you're going to be living in a mental hell of sorts. You know, like that kind of... Anyway, just very interesting. And one of the things that the first agreement is to be impeccable with your word and just, like, making sure that the only thing you say is truth. And it's hard to know what truth is, especially when someone's giving you a particular picture of, like, and telling you this is what it is, and saying this is truth. Like these beliefs are what you need to agree to. You know, it's such a weird concept. I mean, it's how societies have been formed. It's how we've gotten this far. You know.
Yeah, and like religion, Christianity is used a lot in how the world works today, in government, in courts. I don't know. Do they still do the Bible thing?
I kind of think so. I don't know.
So,
does anyone know? I don't know.
Does anyone know?
Does anyone know? Is anyone watching? Does anyone have anything to say? Did you grow up religious? Camera?
Or are you religious
Are you
now?
religious?
And have I hurt your feelings?
Yeah, so what now? So could you, like, obviously, I mean, you know you make a right decision in life when you are either, like, yeah, depending on how you feel. If you feel relief when someone isn't in your life, then that's, like, the right, that's how you know you've made the right choice, right?
Yeah.
So, like, have you found, like, that to be the case since having left religion? That it's, like, I guess the right choice for you?
I felt good about it, but then I felt guilty about feeling good about it because of all the feedback from, like, my parents and my parents' friends. Not so much my peers from church. I think they just kind of let me go and, like, respected my journey or whatever. And I think a lot of them thought, she'll be back.
Yeah.
and whatever. It's just, like, going on a vacay. Well, I've been vacationing now for, like, 10 years, and it feels pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I only get freer. Like, you know, really, truly.
Yeah. But I do love the things that I did grow up with. There is a lot of good memories of the church and the friends that I've made and, like, the places I've gotten to go because of religion and, like,
Yeah.
my grandparents, and they have the same Mennonite religion as well on my dad's side, and, like,
Yeah.
that's, like, a whole community too. And because they're Mennonite Brethren, they're religious, and they're so tedious about everything.
Yeah.
You can really search really far back, the family history,
Yeah.
and you can see how far they've come.
Like with the beliefs, you mean?
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
physically, you know, how they've traveled from Germany to here, right? So,
Yeah.
all based on their faith. Like, they got booted out of Germany,
Oh my goodness.
right?
Yeah.
They don't fight.
Yeah.
Mennonites don't
Yeah.
get physical. They don't
Pacifist,
fight.
yeah.
So,
Oh.
Germany's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Right?
So they did.
And they believe so strongly in their faith, right?
Yeah.
And their faith took them to Canada.
Yeah.
And I'm here. I'm Canadian.
Yeah.
I'm very, very German Canadian, but mostly Canadian. Don't ask me to speak German at all. Thank you. I can only say shit.
You have such a, like, way of being so logical about it and just being able to look with such a, like, unbiased lens into your own world. And, you know, like, obviously it was never personal for you to have to, like, for you to come to that, like, to anyone else. It was your journey. And
Yeah.
it seems like you know, really, really have, like, a level head to be able to have that self-awareness, to look around and be like, yeah. And be able to articulate yourself in the process. I think that's what I think can be the hardest part.
Mm-hmm.
Is articulating what it is you're going through. You know, like, I just didn't understand when I was in university and they're talking about all these things, like, they're, like, just, like, common knowledge of all different kinds of things, and I'm just like, wait, what? Like, all the time, every once in a while, Joel will say stuff about, like, evolution or different things that, like, I should have a knowledge of that I just absolutely don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's so fascinating to not even know your own triggers, I guess. your own beliefs.
Yeah, and my faith that I grew up with it's not ever going to be completely pushed out of my head.
Yeah.
It's always there.
Yeah.
It's not how I live my daily life. Like, I don't make my decisions based on, like, WWJD.
Yeah.
What would that guy do?
So have you found some level of solace in some sort of spirituality, like, since leaving too? Like, or do you just, like, feel more grounded in this reality now, which is,
I'm working on it. Like,
aren't we all?
I go to yoga now. For me, that's like a big step
Totally.
because it is like a very personal experience where you're really working on your inner self. You are doing very physical poses and physically saying things,
Yeah.
but just emotionally how you feel, even just focusing on your breathing, which is how you do yoga properly.
Yeah.
If you don't breathe in and out at certain times, you're gonna pull a muscle and you're never gonna come back.
Yeah.
So just listen to your teacher. But yeah, just at the end of our class, we do like an om together,
Yeah.
and you feel something. And it's very similar to when you're at church and you're like singing together. It's the community.
Like connectedness, feeling of oneness, right?
Yeah, but like that's my thing is, it was always like I feel connected to like my community, like my people. I never felt like, oh, my Lord is with me. It's like, no, like my people are with me. I feel safe. It's like when you with your yoga group, it's the same thing. It's that connection, like, oh, we are one, and like we're all here and present, and like this is a safe community. This is a safe place.
Totally.
So you get that healing almost because it's weekly,
Totally.
right? And you just feel, everything is okay, and you are encouraged to, literally say, in different poses to release that energy out. So even though I don't have my Christian religion, faith, whatever, I still have this new kind of spiritual self that I'm working on.
Very cool.
So it's exciting.
It's totally exciting. I know I went to yoga in grade 12. I did like Bikram yoga.
Oh.
And I remember just like lying on the mat, staring at the ceiling and being like, my like favorite pose is like savasana or whatever, just laying there. That's my favorite part.
The end of class.
It's like, oh, that like, oh yeah, I'm a person, I'm a body, I fit between, this many feet and this wide, like,
Yeah.
But I remember like actually asking God and like really feeling and like the universe and like asking and being like, I wish I could find this much practicality in religion. Like it was so weird that like I felt God so much more there because we were actually feeling myself, like feeling my own air and everything. Where like in Christianity, it's like you shrivel up and you're like, oh no, poor me, I can't breathe. There's
the people
this
around
thing behind me telling me not to do bad things.
That's so funny. Like you're finding like oneness like within yourself, and like I'm feeling the community part. It also just speaks to like personalities. Like you're a really independent person, and you can feed off your own energy really well.
Yeah.
For me, like I'm so community based and like people based. Like I thrive off of people's energy. I need like people's energy to give me positive energy.
Yeah.
So that's why I love yoga in the group part.
Yeah.
Because we're all there and we're all so into what we're doing, and we're all physically and emotionally in the same place, and there's just this real connection.
Totally.
And I love it.
I had my own meditation practice for a while, and then I went to this like goddess circle for a while or whatever. It was like short lived, but whatever. The part another topic for another day. But the part I really loved about that was the meditation we all did together. And I found that in my own meditation practice, that like there is a level of like you give yourself your own energy and it comes back to you. Like there's this level of like aligning yourself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was so shocked how tangible it was doing it with other people and very obviously feeling the energy multiplied. Like,
Yeah.
you're really feeling, if you're doing it with 20 people, you feel those 20 people meditating with you. Like, that was something that, like, really was shocking. Like, just like,
Yeah.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm one and you're one. Like,
It's like a mental
double
blanket, really.
energy. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh, man. So good. Yeah. Well. Well, religion, yoga,
Bread.
life, bread, daily bread,
The bread of life.
weekly bread.
You know, that's one thing I miss, communion.
That
Bread.
Wine
That
and
day old
cheese.
French loaf. Save on foods, thank
Oh
you.
man, it's so awesome. Well, if you've been tuning in with us at all, thank you so much for watching. If not, that's okay too. I had a great conversation with Julia Bartel from
Thank you.
Beatrix Floral. She is running her own business. It's amazing.
Attempting
You know what
to.
makes you happy. You go out and get it. You're very level-headed, and you're able to articulate yourself in a way that's like so clear and
Oh,
nice and slow. I like this conversation pace. It's like my perfect level of pace.
boom. Yes.
Thank you
that's
for
why we're
watching. I don't know if we're gonna have a show next week. I've asked a few people, but I kind of feel like taking a little bit of a break. But you know, we'll see.
Yeah.
Either which way. Yeah, I don't know if you have anything you want to say in closing, but I'm gonna start stopping the stream because it takes a minute or two, so we can just keep talking until it stops us. But
I
yeah,
don't know.
do you have anything?
No. No, I think I'm good. Yeah. Hello to people watching that know me more than just, I don't know, from one time seeing me. Who know me.
Apparently right now we have 5 people watching. Whoop, whoop. Oh my gosh.
Thank you, 5 people.
Feel free to comment too. I haven't stopped anything, so we're just still going. We're just partying.
Does that mean I can do this?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, okay, give me out of 10. How amazing is this beer?
It's really nice. Like, I was like, oh god, it looks like Guinness.
No, it's fruity.
It's very strange.
Feels like it should be blue, like in color, or like purple maybe
Does
even.
it taste blue?
Tastes like blue.
Yep, I'm
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna stop here.